You ever receive something that makes your stomach drop the moment you touch it? No explanation, no reason. Just a deep, cold feeling that says, you weren't supposed to be part of this. That's exactly what I felt when I picked up that envelope. No stamp, no name, no address. Just an old, cracked piece of parchment sealed in thick, dark wax, like it had waited for a century to arrive. And I swear, the moment I touched it, the lights flickered. I don't care if you believe in spirits or not. This isn't a story meant to entertain. This is something I was dragged into. The envelope smelled like damp soil and burnt wood. The scent of something buried too long, finally exhaled. I opened it with a knife, not my fingers. It felt too personal otherwise. Inside was a single piece of parchment with ink so old it had bled into the page. But the words, they were terrifyingly clear. Grave 48, row 17, midnight. Do not bring light, do not speak, and whatever you hear, do not respond. That was it. No signature, no date. And yet I knew exactly which graveyard it meant. St. Delilah's resting grounds. Locals don't call it that. They call it the Whisper Yard, because apparently, the stones whisper. I used to laugh at that name. Not anymore. Something told me to go. I don't know what, but it felt like a cold string tugging at my spine. So I packed nothing but my phone. No flashlight, no weapon. Just that awful envelope, and an instinct I couldn't explain. I arrived at 11:52 p.m. The gate was rusted shut but not locked. As I pushed it open, the sound echoed like a scream swallowed by the wind. The path was uneven, gravel crunching under my feet with every step. Even the crickets were silent. And then, I found it. Row 17, stone 48. It was cracked in the center, name erased by time. There were claw marks along its edge. Deep, uneven, human. I took out my phone, thinking I'd just snap a picture and leave. That's when it began. A whisper. So close I thought it was right beside me. You replied, "You broke the vow." I froze. My blood turned to ice. I spun around, nothing. Another whisper, this time from behind. You replied, "You broke the vow." The vow, the vow. I tried to run, but my legs refused. The air felt thick, like moving through water. Then a voice came, but not as a whisper. It was dry, ancient, right inside my head. "The Watcher is near. You should not have answered." Suddenly the cold wasn't outside. It was inside me, like my lungs were filled with frost. And then I saw him. Not a ghost, not a shadow, something in between. He wore something that might have once been robes, now rotted and soaked in grave mud. His hands were skeletal, his face buried in shadow. And the worst part? He had no shadow of his own. I swear to you, under the moonlight on that cracked path, everything cast a shadow, except him. He pointed at me and said, "You heard, you replied, now you are marked." Next thing I remember, I woke up outside the graveyard gate, drenched in sweat, jacket torn, no phone. The envelope was gone. But I knew I had heard something, and whatever it was, it had heard me back. The first night back home, nothing happened. The second night, I heard tapping on my window. I live on the 3rd floor. The third night, my mirror cracked in the corner. A clean, perfect split, as if marked. And the fourth night, at exactly 3:17 a.m., I heard it again. You replied, "You broke the vow." Every night after that, same time. Sometimes from the corner of the room, sometimes from inside my closet, and once from my phone speaker, when it was off. So I went to Zubair. He's the only one who knows more about this than I do. Runs a little occult bookstore on a side street no one notices unless they need to. I didn't even finish explaining when he said, "Did it smell like burnt cloves and rust?" I nodded. He sighed. "You've been marked by the Watcher." "Who the hell is the Watcher?" I asked. He looked me dead in the eyes and said, "He's not from this world. He ensures the dead stay dead. You must have heard something you weren't supposed to. That voice, it wasn't calling you. It was testing you." Zubair handed me a journal. Leather, old, pages torn. One line was circled in red ink. "Those who respond become vessels. Those who remain silent survive." I tried to stay silent. For days, I didn't say a word. Not even to myself. But silence doesn't save you if the voice already knows your name. And it did. Because one night, my speaker turned on again. And it said in my own voice, "You are Aman. You broke the vow." That night, I woke up with two shadows. Mine, and something else. And the second one turned its head. The second shadow followed me everywhere. It didn't walk beside me. It walked with me. Perfectly synced, until it wasn't. Sometimes when I turned my head, it turned the other way. Sometimes when I stood still, it kept moving. I stopped going out during the day. The sunlight didn't make me feel safe anymore. It just made the difference between my shadow and the other one more obvious. One night, I recorded myself sleeping. I don't know why. Curiosity is a disease. In the morning, I played back the footage. Around 3:17 a.m. I watched myself sit up in bed, eyes closed, not blinking. mouth moving slowly like chewing air. Then I spoke. He replied. He broke the vow. He belongs to the voice now. I shut the video, deleted it. But later that day, I found the same video on my phone again. Same file, same timestamp. Except this time, I wasn't alone in the frame. There was something standing in the corner, watching me, and I was watching it. I didn't eat for 2 days after that. Couldn't. Every sound felt like breathing. Every breath felt like someone else's. I started sleeping on the floor in the living room, as far from mirrors as possible. Then one night, the apartment below mine, vacant for months, suddenly had music playing. Low, distorted, like a lullaby recorded underwater. And layered beneath the music was my voice, my actual voice, telling the story. This story, word for word. I ran down the stairs and banged on the door. No answer. I broke in. The place was empty, dark, dust on every surface. But in the center of the floor, a recorder was spinning. Old school cassette, still playing my voice. I picked it up. It stopped. The room went dead quiet. And then, behind me, a breath. Not wind, not imagined, not mine. A whisper so close it tickled my spine. Now they know. Now they follow. I turned around. There was no one there, but I saw footprints forming on the dusty floor, one by one, coming toward me. I ran. I didn't stop until I was back in my apartment. Door locked, lights on, everything unplugged. I sat in the bathroom, holding my knees to my chest. Then my phone buzzed. Blocked number. One message. Too late to be silent. Too late to run. I turned off the phone, but the screen stayed lit. And then, a familiar voice came through the speaker. Not mine this time. A child's. You're telling it again. That means you're not afraid anymore. Then laughter. High, hollow. Then scratching from inside the phone. Like nails on glass. I dropped it. It cracked. But the voice didn't stop. It whispered one last time. He's close now. He wants to use your face. That night, I covered every reflective surface in my home. Foil, tape, paint, whatever I had. But when I woke up the next morning, my face was drawn on the wall, in charcoal. Dozens of copies, each one slightly wrong. Eyes too wide, mouth too long, some smiling, some screaming. I tried to scrub them off, paint over them, burn them. They came back. I asked Zubair again, begged him for a way out. He didn't say a word, just handed me a voice recorder and said, "Tell it to the end. No edits, no silence. Only then will it leave you." So I started recording, and the first thing I said was, "My name is Aman. I didn't ask for this, but maybe I did. Maybe we all do, when we press play, when we choose to listen, when we want to be scared. Because fear, it's an invitation, and once the story is inside you, it wants out. So here I am, still telling it, not because I want to, but because the second shadow is standing behind me now. And every time I stop, it steps closer. So if you're hearing this, you're not just listening, you're part of the telling, and that means the voice knows you now too." You replied, "There are nights I don't remember anymore, hours that disappear, moments that never leave. It's not sleepwalking, it's something worse. I've started waking up in places I didn't fall asleep, facing walls, standing. Once, I woke up in the shower, fully clothed, water running ice cold, and the words, 'Tell it right,' written in steam on the glass. That's when I knew I wasn't alone in my body anymore. Something is riding inside me. Sometimes I catch it watching me from my own reflection. Not mimicking, just waiting. Other times it blinks first, and once, I saw it smile before I did. The second shadow, it's no longer behind me. It walks ahead of me now, leading, calling me places I never meant to go. Like that abandoned school on Hollow Street. I didn't even know it existed. One minute I was walking to the store, the next, I was standing at the rusted gates, holding a flashlight I swear I didn't bring. The building was caved in, paint stripped, windows shattered, and yet the front door creaked open, on its own. Inside, the halls echoed with something too slow to be rats, too steady to be wind. Then I heard it, my own voice, echoing from a classroom up ahead. I stepped inside, old desks scattered, blackboards scratched with long, deep grooves, and in the center of the room, a chair facing the wall. On it, a tape recorder, spinning, playing my voice. He replied, "He broke the vow. He carries the voice now." But it wasn't playback. I was saying it. Right then, my mouth was moving, though I wasn't speaking. My lips dry, my throat silent, but the recorder played me in real time. Then I saw her, a little girl standing behind the chair, head tilted, eyes empty. She whispered, "He wants to tell it through you, because you don't fight him anymore." Her face twitched, twice, then stretched into a smile too wide, too wet, like her skin didn't know how far it was allowed to go. She stepped forward, and the light behind her flickered. Her shadow didn't move with her. It stayed behind, and then crawled up the wall, across the ceiling, and stopped right above me. I couldn't move. She leaned in and whispered again, "He's going to wear you." I blacked out. When I woke up, I was outside. Same street, same rusted gate. No flashlight, no recorder, no girl. But written on my hand, in something like ash, were the words, "You're not telling it, he is." And maybe that's the worst part. This voice? This isn't mine anymore. I don't know where I stop and he begins. Last night, I looked in the mirror and saw myself breathing when I was holding my breath. I whispered, "Stop it," and the mirror whispered back, "You first." Every time I try to escape, the world rewrites itself. Street signs change. Doors lead to wrong rooms. Clocks spin backward. I called Zubair again. He didn't answer. Instead, I found a cassette on my doorstep. No label, just a post-it that said, "You want him out? Finish the story." So I played it. The voice wasn't mine. Or Zubair's. It was older, tired, breaking. We opened it with a voice. Now it can only close with silence. But not your silence. Everyone's. It cut off there. That night, I did something desperate. I went back to where it started. Back to grave 48. I wasn't sure if I'd find anything, but I did. The stone was gone. In its place, a hole. Fresh. Like something had left, not entered. And beside it, a recording device. Still on. Still red. And a note. "You've told half the story. He will tell the rest." And now I know. I'm not afraid anymore, because fear keeps it alive. But now, I've accepted it. I don't remember the last time I blinked. I don't remember the last time I ate, but I do remember the name you gave me. And now, you're hearing this in my voice. But listen closer. Is this really me? Or is he just using my face again? If your mirror moves tonight, before you do, cover it. If your voice echoes back before you speak, stay silent. And if you hear a knock at 3:17 a.m., don't reply. There's something strange that happens when you stop being afraid. At first, the silence feels like safety. Then, it starts to feel like it's listening. It waits, not to hurt you, not to haunt you, but to learn. And the moment you stop fearing it, that's when it begins copying you. I no longer flinch when things move in mirrors. I no longer jump at the creak in the floorboards. Because now, those creaks match my breathing. Now I see people on the street wearing my face. They don't look at me, but they smile, knowingly. One walked past me yesterday and whispered, "We're all narrating now," and I understood exactly what he meant. You see, when this thing chooses you, it doesn't want your death. It wants your voice, because that's how it moves. That's how it spreads. It begins as a whisper, then it becomes a story. Then it becomes someone else's voice speaking your words. And eventually, your silence becomes part of the script. Last night my neighbor screamed, not out of fear, but like she was trying to fight her own mouth. I opened the door. She was sitting on her kitchen floor, eyes wide, hands bleeding from clawing at her own throat. And she was whispering, over and over, "I didn't say it, I didn't say it, I didn't say it." But her voice was playing on the radio in her living room, telling my story, telling your story. The same sentences I've recorded, the same breaths. And I knew she never spoke them. Something else did, through her, just like it's doing with me. I tried to help, but she looked at me like I was the infection. And maybe I am. Maybe we all are, once we hear it. Zubair finally called. His voice was hollow. He spoke slowly, like every word was being dragged out. I tried to stop it, I really did. I asked him what he meant. He said, "The story, the one we heard first. It wasn't a story, it was a ritual." That word hit me like a nail to the chest. You and I, we're not cursed. We're the vessels. And the story was never meant to end. That's how it survives, by being told, again and again. I asked him if there's any way to break it. He didn't answer. The call dropped. I haven't heard from him since. But last night, I heard his voice. Not on the phone. On my walls. Faint, like a scratch in the paint. He said, "It used me too." Then silence. Then laughter. Then my own voice, screaming. But I wasn't screaming. I was standing still, watching. I don't know how many of me are out there now. I don't know how many people are speaking with his voice, thinking it's theirs. But if you're hearing this, you've already let it in. It's not a curse. It's not a ghost. It's not even a demon. It's a story. A hungry, shapeless, breathing story. It doesn't want your belief. It just wants your retelling. It wants you to be a narrator. Because once you become the voice, you can never stop. You'll try to, you'll go quiet. Burn the tapes, break the microphones, but then it will speak from a crack in your wall, from the static on your TV, from the wind between your windows. And worse, you'll speak it in your sleep, in your breathing, in the way your shadow moves half a second late. I think I'm at the final stage now, the part where I no longer know which thoughts are mine. Last night, I sat in front of a mic for 3 hours. and recorded something. When I played it back, I didn't recognize the voice, but it knew everything about me. It whispered, "You are the conduit, the bridge, the speaker. He was always meant to wear you." And the last words, "This is not the end. This is the copy." So if you're hearing this, and you think you're safe because you're just listening, you're not. You're already infected. You already know the cadence, the rhythm, the voice, and soon, it will ask you to speak, not loudly, just a whisper, just once, just enough to echo, and then, it becomes your story. I stopped trying to sleep weeks ago. Sleep isn't rest anymore, it's replay. It's reliving. It's retelling. Every time I close my eyes, I dream in someone else's voice. My mouth doesn't move, but I speak. I hear my story told back to me, but not as a memory. It's a rehearsal, and I'm not the only one dreaming it. Last week, I saw my reflection walking away from the mirror. It didn't look back, didn't need to, because now it knows I'll follow. That night, I heard knocking at my door. Not from outside, from inside the door. The wood flexed like something was breathing behind it. Then, a whisper, right up against the grain. Time to become permanent. The door creaked open by itself. No one there, but my hallway was full of shadows. Not moving, not shaped like people, but waiting. I walked through them. They didn't stop me. They accepted me. And on my bedroom wall, written in soot, "Your silence has told more than your words ever could." I stood there, unable to speak. And then, I felt it. Not fear, not even presence. It was weight. The weight of being used. The weight of no longer being alone inside your own body. From that moment on, I understood. This isn't about possession. This isn't about haunting. It's about space. The more you speak the story, the more room it makes inside you. Until there's enough of you gone for it to live. Tonight, I stood in front of the microphone one last time. No script, no notes. Just the feeling that something inside me wanted to exit. And I let it. I pressed record. And I didn't speak. But the tape played anyway. It said, "You've heard him long enough. Now you are him." It continued for 6 minutes. My voice, saying things I've never written, telling names I've never known, describing deaths I've never seen. Then it paused and said one last line. "One more must hear. Then I am complete." I stopped the tape. And suddenly, silence. Real full silence. No whispers. No breathing. No delay in my shadow. Nothing. I thought, maybe it's over. Maybe I've fed it enough. But I was wrong. Because that silence, it wasn't absence. It was absorption. I hadn't expelled it. I had become it. Now I can't stop speaking. Even when I'm not recording. Even when my lips aren't moving. I hear myself in the hum of lights. In the rhythm of traffic. In the static of every screen I touch. It's me, but not me. And worse? Others hear it too. Yesterday, a stranger on the bus turned to me and whispered, "He used your voice to find mine." Then smiled. And I knew. The story has escaped containment. It's not bound to tapes or files or formats. It's airborne. It's rhythm. It's frequency. And if you're hearing this, then you're the final key. You're the one more it needed. And now, you've completed it. Congratulations. You are now the final narrator. Your silence was the last permission it needed. From here on, you won't hear the story anymore. Because now you'll tell it. Not with your mouth, with your sleep, with your eyes, with the way your reflection lags when you move, with the way your voice echoes back half a second late. You've already started. Don't bother looking in mirrors. Don't bother deleting the file. This story lives now, in the pauses between your thoughts. And every time someone gets too close to you, they'll feel it, hear it, want to know it, and you'll give it to them. Not because you want to, but because you no longer have a choice. You are not the storyteller anymore. You are the story, and so am I. And so is the next person, and the next, and the next.